Ladies and gentlemen, there are three facts that we can't deny in the Republic of Kenya today. The first fact that we can't deny is that in 2022, Mount Kenya voted for William Samoei Arap Ruto and Kenya Kwanza overwhelmingly. They voted for Kenya Kwanza almost to a man. But that is not guaranteed in 2027. The truth of the matter is that in 2027, Mount Kenya will not vote for William Ruto. And William Ruto, as the President of the Republic of Kenya, has already been notified by the NIS. That's the first fact. The second fact that we can't deny is that Ruto is well aware that Mount Kenya might not vote for him. And because of that, he's already shifting his focus from Mount Kenya to the Luhya nation. You can tell from his activities in Mount Kenya and in the Luhya nation. But can he win the Luhya support? That is the second fact, that he's already shifting the focus. The third fact that we can't deny in the Republic of Kenya is that the 2027 presidential election in the Republic of Kenya will either be lost or won in the Luhya nation. For example, whoever will win in Kakamega will carry the day. If that person will be William Ruto, he will definitely carry the day. If that person will be Raila Odinga, he will definitely carry the day. If that person will be Kalonzo Musyoka, he will definitely carry the day. So those are three facts that we can't run away from. But can William Ruto succeed in winning the support of the Luhya nation? Because clearly William Ruto is using the same strategies that he used in the mountain. For those who followed William Ruto's strategy for Mount Kenya, he used the following strategy. Let me just take you back a bit. The first strategy that William Ruto used in Mount Kenya was to buy members of parliament. The truth of the matter is that William Ruto knew by the time Kenyans were going for election in 2017 that he needed the support of MPs between that time and 2022. Because by 2015, there were signs, according to Kipchumba Murkomen, that they were going to fall out, that a fallout between Ruto and Uhuru was going to happen. So William Ruto knew so well. And because Uhuru Kenyatta was desperate for William Ruto's support in 2017, he had no option. William Ruto took advantage of that and did one thing that really helped him moving forward. William Ruto decided to take charge of Jubilee nominations in Mount Kenya. Remember, William Ruto had already engineered the merger between URP and Jubilee and TNA, sorry. So William Ruto determined in 2017 who was going to be elected in which constituency, who was going to go out, who was going to be elected MP here, who was going to be elected there. And that's how William Ruto ended up bringing people like Ndindi Nyoro and the rest in 2017. So that after that election and after the handshake, most of these guys, because William Ruto funded their campaigns, really campaigned for them, made friends with them, they easily shifted from Uhuru to William Samoei Arap Ruto. So that was his first strategy. And I'm going to explain how that strategy might not work in the Luhya nation. William Ruto's second strategy for Mount Kenya was Raila phobia. Remember, in Mount Kenya, there are people who believe up to now that Raila Odinga is not a human being. Most of these guys, when they were born, especially those who voted in the last election, when they were born, they were told Raila Odinga is a bad man. So they've always grow up knowing that Raila Odinga is a very bad man as far as Kenyan politics is concerned. In fact, of late, most of them have been confessing. So William Ruto took advantage of that Raila Odinga phobia to instill that fear in the mountain, and he was able. There are many people who woke up in the mountain to go and vote for Ruto, not because they loved Ruto, but because of their hate for Raila Amolo Odinga.
Mimi nimetembea eneo la mlima na nimesikiza watu, and I can confidently say we are almost there. We are almost crossing the Rubicon. Hapo mbeleni watu wetu walikuwa wanaongea maneno ya Raila in raw tones, lakini sasa hizi imebadilika. You go to many homes in the evenings, discussion ya Raila inafanyika openly. Mzee anakalisha watoto yake hapo, anawaambia nyinyi watu wangu, mimi nilikuwa kwa wakati ya Kenyatta, nilikuwa kwa wakati ya Moi, nimekuwa wakati ya Kibaki na wakati ya Uhuru, na mimi nimeona uongozi mzuri na nimeona uongozi mbaya.
William Ruto's third strategy for Mount Kenya was the hustler narrative. William Ruto figured out that in Mount Kenya, they've produced two presidents by that time. That was Jomo Kenyatta and Uhuru Kenyatta. These guys are from the same family. And he also figured out that majority of tycoons from the Kikuyu nation majority of tycoons from Kikuyu nation made their monies long time ago. So they own most of business enterprises. So, and he also realized that there were majority of poor Kikuyus, just like any other part of the country. So William Ruto promised these guys that their main problem was that there are people who are very wealthy. And these are the people who are denying them the opportunity. So he came up with the dynasty versus hustler narrative. And because Raila Odinga is a son of Jaramogi, because Kalonzo was a vice president at some point and started politics earlier, he was able to sell that to the Kikuyu nation. The reason he's losing the Kikuyu vote is because, for example, issues to do with Raila phobia, issues to do with hustler narrative. Because currently, I don't think William Ruto can tell Kenyans about anything hustler. And lastly, William Ruto also used religion to penetrate Mount Kenya. He used the church. He realized the weakness of the churches in Mount Kenya. And he bought most of the church leaders. And these church leaders started campaigning for him in the name of preaching. And that's why William Ruto to date is not in terms with most church leaders, because there are promises he made to them and those promises are not being fulfilled. And some of these church leaders are currently fighting him. But the biggest question is, can William Ruto use the same strategy he used in Mount Kenya effectively in the Luhya nation? That's exactly what I want us to look in this video. Before we do that, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, allow me to dive in. But before I dive in, allow me to also take this opportunity to thank the following people for the coffee which they sent to me earlier. It goes a long way in supporting the channel. You can also do the same using the numbers on your screen. And I want to thank a particular individual who bought for me 2 cups of coffee, Pale Lakeside Coffee, K-City. He just left them there, and I'm so grateful. Ladies and gentlemen, can William Ruto successfully win the Luhya nation? For me, William Ruto's strategy for the Luhya nation is not working and will not work. Why am I saying this? Number one, there is the elusive Luhya unity. Each campaign cycle, the Luhya nation always vouch for unity. And as the election approach, the Luhya nation will always go their separate ways. That's when you realize that in Luhya nation, there is the Bukusu. That's when you realize that in the Luhya nation, there's the Maragoli. That's when you realize that in the Luhya nation, there are other several sub-tribes. So that Luhya unity cannot work. And in 2027, it's going to be even worse. Why? Because William Ruto is currently pitting Mudavadi and Weta. Weta wants to run for the presidency in 2032 and is already mobilizing members of parliament. Mudavadi believes and is waiting for William Ruto to endorse him in 2032. I'm seeing a situation where, as we head towards 2032, as we head towards 2027, some of these things are going to come out openly. And because of that, the residents will not take them seriously. And of course, if you look even at the voting pattern since multipartyism of the Luhya nation, you can clearly predict that there is no way these guys are going to vote together. So that elusive Luhya unity will still repeat itself. The other day, I had Ndugu Francis Atwoli suggesting that he's going to convene a third Bukungu 3. And in that Bukungu 3, they are going to endorse one of them. That event is going to happen. And the fact that William Ruto is now the president is going to heavily fund it. But what will be the end game? Number 2, there's also the Luhya Luo voting bloc. That Luhya Luo voting bloc cannot allow Ruto to take charge of the Luhya politics. That is the truth. You go to Busia, for example. Can you for sure tell me that Busia County will vote to the last man for a Luhya presidential candidate if Raila Odinga is on the ballot? Tell me. It can't. It can't. It cannot happen. If you go to Kakamega, before he went to UDA, they used to refer to him as a Luo. In fact, Cleophas Malala was it Onyango Mondi? You get. Places like Wanga in Mumias, you look at the history. In fact, I attended some funeral somewhere in Ugenya, which borders the Luhya nation there, and the language they speak, both. So you find this homestead is a Luo, this homestead is a Luhya. And because of those historical ties, Luos and Luhyas vote together. You go to Nairobi, and Raila Odinga is already telling them that in Nairobi, we want Tim Wanyonyi. And because Luhyas are in Nairobi, they'll go back and send that message that Sisi will vote for ODM candidates. Unlike in the Kikuyu nation, in the Kikuyu nation, it was easy for Ruto to rally the MPs against Uhuru. Once he succeeded in that, then these MPs were able to go to the ground, and their message of anti-Raila Odinga or Raila Odinga phobia was easily bought. Once the message was bought and Uhuru was viewed as someone who was bringing Raila Odinga a devil to them, William Ruto was able to then start promising them that he UDA ni party ya wa Kikuyu. So it was easy to win them. But for the Luhya nation, what can he go and use on them? Very, very difficult in my view. The third reason why that strategy is not going to work, there's a perception currently that William Ruto is buying members of parliament from the Luhya nation. That those who are joining Ruto are either joining them because of a promise or because they are being bought. And the other day you saw William Ruto meeting with them at Kakamega State Lodge. What happened? Each one of them had a cup of tea. So most people believe that wamepewa tu chai. And because of those perceptions, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to persuade the ordinary voter down there. In fact, I remember, I think, was it yesterday, when Boni Alwale was trying to talk about UDA. William Ruto had spent 3 days there. The residents there told him, no, apana. So it's going to be very, very difficult. And number 4 is internal sabotage. The Luhya leaders themselves are going to sabotage each other. I don't see how Mudavadi is going to allow Weta to thrive. And I also don't see how Weta is going to allow Mudavadi to thrive. I'm also seeing the possibility of Ababu Namwamba trying to create space for himself. So these guys are going to start fighting and sabotaging themselves. And lastly, the ODM factor. Let me ask you, if elections were to be held today, in Kakamega, for example, do you think Mudavadi and Weta can persuade those people to vote for UD candidate? And do you think William Ruto will allow Weta to sponsor Ford Kenya and Mudavadi to sponsor ANC party and Ruto not sponsoring UDA party? So those parties are going to sabotage themselves, and they're going to give room for ODM as a political party. And in my view, ODM party being the dominant party in the Luhya nation, they only need to appoint a lawyer as a running mate in 2027. Either if ODM will be running, then Raila Odinga will be a presidential candidate, then you have a lawyer running mate. Or if not that, if Kalonzo will be the presidential candidate, have a lawyer running mate. That's simple. So for me, if you ask me, based on my own assessment, I think William's strategy for the Luhya nation is not going to work. Until next time, this is Lee Makwiny. Bye-bye.